It has been several days since the World Cup final, and yet we are still talking about it, and not exactly because of the soccer. No, it is because of what went down off the pitch. And naturally, the Argentines are right in the center, sparking controversy after controversy. They do not know how to win, but worse, they do not know how to lose. Plus, FIFA has practically handed them everything. It was not because of incredible play. Every single round they advanced was thanks to blatant, shameless help from the referees. Worst of all, they do not admit it. They think they are superior, better than everyone. Good for them. But the world is not blind anymore. It is no longer just a few people calling out referee robberies and pointing out that Argentina cannot lose gracefully. Everyone is saying it. Today, we have the explosive reactions from the global press that are absolutely shaking up the soccer world. Statements that expose Argentina and put serious pressure on FIFA as the governing body of this sport. Multiple journalists are refusing to stay quiet, and their words have been incredibly harsh. Let us start with the Spanish press. After Spain won the World Cup, their journalists spoke out, completely disgusted by how the Argentine behaved after losing. They threw punches, and when it was time for Spain to lift the trophy, they turned around, showed their backs, and even hurled insults. The first journalist to speak out was the iconic Josep Pedrerol, known for his show El Chiringuito. Pedrerol provoked Argentina, saying they needed a little more humility. He also called Argentina's image in this tournament pathetic, pointing out how they humiliated themselves after losing the final. He implied they did not even have the level to play in a final, and honestly, he is absolutely right. They could not beat Switzerland. They could not beat Egypt. They had to be carried by the refs. And when they finally faced a giant, they totally fell apart. Another Spanish journalist who chimed in was Rubén Marín. Right after the match ended, he said soccer won and anti-soccer lost. Any team has the right to sit back and play defensively, but that does not mean kicking, provoking, or intimidating opponents. Argentina did exactly that, and it is unacceptable. Finally, he mentioned that FIFA should hand down harsh, radical sanctions to player Paredes and coaching staff member Ricardo Ayala, both of whom hit several Spanish players. But it gets even worse. Just a few hours ago, Ricardo Ayala himself, the man who struck Dani Olmo after the final whistle hit back at Rubén Marín and the soccer world. He said, "We need to stop this, forget what happened, and move on." He claimed his hit on Dani Olmo was more of a push than anything else. It was not a punch like the media wants to portray it. If he saw Dani Olmo, he would obviously apologize, but things like this happen thousands of times. He added that he does not get why they blow it up with his team, as if there is a campaign against them. In other words, he apologized without actually apologizing. He normalized it for Argentina, but claimed the press is blowing it up because of some imaginary campaign against them. Essentially, he is admitting they have always played dirty and that they are sore losers, but suggesting the only real issue is that people are finally calling them out. Quite a shameless message. They are basically saying we have to accept them as they are, that they can do whatever they want, and everyone else is the villain. Sometimes, it is much better to just stay quiet than to make an absolute fool of yourself. Another country deeply unhappy with Argentina's behavior is Mexico. The two did not even play each other on the pitch, and yet, Argentine fans and journalists still cannot keep Mexico out of their mouths. The most famous incident involves Eduardo Feynman, who explicitly stated he detests Mexicans and insulted them, but he is far from the only one. Various content creators, influencers, fans, and even players have sent incredibly humiliating messages targeting Mexico. But while they are generally friendly, Mexicans are not staying silent about this. One of Mexico's most prominent sports journalists, Álvaro Morales of ESPN, stated directly that the Argentines think Mexicans are jealous of them. Jealous of what? Of a country that is falling apart, where people use soccer as a toxic escape just to feel superior? Do not project your complexes on us. In Mexico, we do not envy you one bit. You might win World Cups, but you are classless champions who rely on humiliation and belittling because you cannot compete peacefully. You cannot win with dignity or respect your opponents. The average Argentine fan is bitter that Mexico has stability, money, and solid infrastructure. Do not confuse passion with social frustration. Mexico deserves respect. Quite a heavy message from Álvaro Morales to the Argentines. And he is right, Mexico deserves respect. The controversial journalist David Faitelson also weighed in, saying what we hear from the Argentine press is not soccer folklore, it is absolute moral baseness. Saying it on TV, on the street, on the internet, and everywhere, that I hate Mexicans with all my soul, that is prehistoric and unacceptable. Repaying Mexico's historic hospitality with pure hate speech is pretty pathetic. Mexico has always opened its doors, giving jobs, homes, and food to thousands of Argentinians escaping their own crisis. For them to come here today and insult our people in our own home while making up lies about us, it just shows a total lack of sportsmanship and basic humanity. That was David Faitelson's response. It is pretty shocking, especially since this journalist is known for being incredibly controversial and never holding back. Even so, he proved Mexicans respond to insults with class. His message was firm, avoiding the cheap shots, humiliation, and arrogance we have seen from the Argentinians lately. And he is right. Trashing our country while living here is just sad. Argentinians are everywhere now, from Mexico City to Playa del Carmen. You cannot generalize, sure, but a good chunk of them simply do not know how to show respect. After Argentina played Spain, Mexican streets erupted with curses, insults, and even physical fights. Instead of focusing on themselves, or being proud of making the final, even in defeat they chose to spit insults. That is just wrong. Plus, they flooded social media with fake news about Mexico throughout the tournament, and we did not even play each other on the pitch. Look, if they want us to admit they are better at soccer, that is obvious. They have World Cups. They have Messi. They have Maradona. Sure, they are legends of the game, but that has nothing to do with respect. Millions of Mexicans do not even care about soccer, yet they still face abuse. This is not some anti-Argentina campaign. It is about stopping this behavior here and everywhere. Besides, let us be honest, they always get favored by referees. In the last World Cup, they won multiple games on ghost penalties. If you do not accept it, look at history. How did Maradona win? With his hand. And you call it the hand of God. Shouldn't you be embarrassed to slap God's name on a blatant cheat? You are the only ones who call that legendary. To the rest of the world, it was highway robbery. Anyway, in the end, you always win. Rules or no rules. Yes, referees favored them, but they are still better than Mexico. They just are. In Mexico, we need to focus on education, food, and showing respect. That is where we actually want to be the best. But let us look at the backlash. It wasn't just journalists. Even a Real Madrid manager chimed in. José Mourinho spoke to the biggest sports network in soccer about the Argentinian national team. Argentina. They are not a good team. Just kicking and reckless tackles that the referee ignores most of the time. Imagine having 0 shots on goal in 2 hours of play. That says it all. They are not that good, and without some serious help, they wouldn't have even made the final. It is just the truth. One of the greatest managers in football history made a spot-on analysis. Argentina was never really the superior team during their matches. In fact, they were trailing most of the time, only to escape in the final minutes thanks to some highly questionable referee calls. But since they barely even reached the box in the final, not even the refs could save them, even though they clearly tried their best to tip the scales. Former Manchester United star Wayne Rooney also left the Argentinian players a message. The fights they started after the match were honestly pathetic. It is a complete disrespect to the game. It showed a complete inability to lose with dignity. They simply do not deserve to be in the World Cup. As you can see, this isn't just random people talking. We are talking about a Manchester United legend and a manager who won 2 Champions League trophies in his career. Only the Argentinians themselves seem blind to how much help they got during this World Cup. Any other country in their shoes would probably just shut up and be quiet. But here, they just throw insults, proving they lack the basic principles of true athletes or fans. Mind you, we cannot generalize. How is it even possible that when you have a living legend like Lionel Messi, arguably the greatest player of all time, he lacks the backbone to call out his teammates? Or to tell fans to keep it classy with soccer chants instead of toxic insults? Argentina always boasts that Messi is their ultimate leader, that they play for him. If that is true, why is he not the one establishing order? English journalist Piers Morgan insulted Messi after the England game, and we do not support that. Personal insults are never okay, no matter who it is. But he did make a point most soccer fans agree with. Messi constantly whines to the referee, disappearing for long stretches and only showing up to demand fouls. And he was right about one thing: Argentina played incredibly dirty in the final against Spain. When Enzo Fernandez got sent off for his tackle on Pauchi, one of his teammates faked an injury, and Messi ran over to deceive the ref. He even accused an opponent of covering his mouth, fabricating drama, and exaggerating everything. Did anyone actually see Messi play well in that final? No. He just manipulated the ref. And honestly, the worst part? He completely disrespected several of his own former teammates. Cucurella and Pauchi shared a Barcelona dressing room with him, worshipping him as an idol. Same goes for Lamine Yamal and Gabi, yet they still targeted them with hard hits and insults. As Spain lifted the World Cup, Messi just turned his back to look at the crowd, showing zero respect to a country that gave him everything. Or rather, helped build his greatness. Let's be honest, some Argentine teams rejected Messi when he was young. But Spain opened its doors. That Spanish club is where he raised his level and built his legend. It's where he grew up as a player, a man, and where his own children grew up. That country deserved the bare minimum him facing them, applauding his old teammates and the home that welcomed him. This is also a major wake-up call for FIFA. This is a direct message to journalists, the soccer world, and Infantino himself. You cannot let these things happen anymore. There must be strict rules, harsh punishments, and basic respect. This isn't just about Argentina. Any national team that shows this level of disrespect simply has no place in the World Cup. A fine of €300,000 is pointless. These players have money to burn. The real punishment is banning them. I'll say it again, whether it's Argentina, Mexico, or anyone else, if they insult and humiliate opponents, they deserve the exact same consequence. That's our take on this tournament drama. Hope you enjoyed this video. We are still reading all your comments and truly appreciate the love you have sent our way. As we said before, we're replying to everyone. If you want a shout-out featured in our next video, just leave a comment below, and you might make the cut. Hey there! I wanted to give a quick shout-out to all my fellow soccer fans watching this channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Sending you all a huge embrace. Thanks so much for bringing us all these updates. Have an awesome day, guys. Shout out to this awesome page. Thanks for these videos. Seriously, thank you all so much for the support. Our incredible growth is entirely because of you.